If you're selling your home in the South Bay and you get multiple offers, what do? How do you pick? Do you just pick the one with the highest price?
Well, why wouldn't you, Gerald? Because highest is best. Wait, that was a trick question, wasn't it?
This has been going on for a long time here in the beach cities in the South Bay of Los Angeles. Why? Because this is a really nice place to live. Back in the great worst recession, where banks owned most of the listings as foreclosures, they would say to us, highest and best, which meant that they wanted the buyers to bring their best offer and the highest price they'll pay because there might not be a counter offer. And it was oftentimes very frustrating to get a knucklehead bank employee to realize that the highest offer might not be the best offer.
To the highest bidder.
Okay, I'll bite. What do you mean?
When we get multiple offers, we make a spreadsheet and we write down all the terms and the prices and the dates of each offer. So when we look at it, the seller can make a decision not really based on emotion. Mostly the moving parts of an offer are this. Number one, price and earnest deposit. More is always stronger on both of these. Number two is a close of escrow date. Is it long escrow or is it short? Can the seller remain in the property for a period of time, aka a lease back? Number three, financing or cash. This is huge because if it's financing, then the buyer has to qualify with an underwriter. If it's cash, then it has a much higher probability it will close escrow because the financing problems aren't an issue. This involves a lot of stupid lender tricks, or SLT. I talk about this in my book, Dwelling Selling, how the internet made selling a house in the South Bay easy, and other funny stories, available on Amazon, in chapters 11 and 12.
Are you getting close to the end of this short list?
Number four, contingencies. Normal buyer contingencies are appraisal, home inspection, and buyer's ability to qualify for a loan, if they're getting one. In a normal market, they're generally given 17 to 21 days to complete these items and remove all contingencies. Currently, in a seller's market, a lot of buyers are shortening or removing these contingencies. Number five, closing costs. In a seller's market, sometimes the buyer might need to pay some of the closing costs for the seller just to sweeten the deal. Number six, even a home warranty could be bumped from a deal to try to win it. I think this is a bad idea because things happen to houses every day. I make sure there's one at closing, even if I have to pay for it, because it's part of my post-marketing concierge service to help keep things running smoothly, so there's a really smooth transition between the seller and the new buyer.
Post-marketing concierge service? Fancy.
That said, let's say our highest offer was for $2 million on a listing that's listed at $1.8 million. This offer has a buyer getting a loan for the property. So there's two things we need to check before we accept an offer like this. One, did the buyer waive the appraisal contingency? If they did, then two, we need the buyer to show the seller they have proof of funds in cash to fund their down payment and closing costs, plus enough to fund the difference between maybe a low appraisal and the purchase price of $2 million. If the appraisal comes in low, say it comes in at list price at $1.8 million, and they're at $2 million, then the buyer would need to come in with an additional $200,000 in cash, in addition to their down payment and closing costs, to fund the delta. So we need to see proof of those funds prior to accepting that offer in case that does happen. Do you see why?
Are you done?
If you didn't check up front if they had liquid assets,
Now you're talking. I'll drink to that.
And if they don't have funds to pay the difference, then the deal could get complicated and the escrow could cancel, and the buyer could lose their earnest deposit if they waive their appraisal contingency and or their loan approval contingency.
earnest deposit is 3% of the purchase price, which in this case would be $60,000. And I don't know about you, but that's a lot of cash that you don't want to lose. This is why you don't hire lazy or sloppy or inexperienced agents to represent you. Getting back to that offer, now can you see that maybe the highest offer was not necessarily the best offer for the seller to accept at that time?
Not yet.
What if we also had an all-cash offer at $1.9 million, say, and no contingencies? That might be the best offer for the seller, even though we have a $2 million financed offer that's contingent upon appraisal and or financing. Because adding financing to a transaction creates a lot more question marks if the buyer is going to qualify a loan and get approved and have an appraisal, because that involves a lot of other people and bank employees, and guess what? It's a lot of other people involved in the transaction that
could say no.
Back to the multiple offers. We line all the offers up like we did on our spreadsheet, and then the seller can look at them without a lot of emotion and then be able to make a better decision when I do it that way. Think about it. How many homes have you sold in the last 5 years? How many with multiple offers? How many with multiple offers and almost 100 pages of disclosures and other documentation? Probably not that many.
This could be really stressful.
That's why you need to hire an agent who's been there and done that more than one time and has thought through and been through these scenarios so they can look down the line and see the potential problems and help you figure those out before they become a problem for you and your move.
Wow, all this seems...
I know, I make it sound so simple. You should watch this video next. It's about how many homes are getting multiple offers and selling over list price. It's pretty shocking. Cheers.